What started as a group of girls stuck sitting in the front row together in PT school became a friendship full of laughs, cries, and of course endless studying. We wanted to start this podcast to talk about all things PT and share our passion for the profession as well as the trials and tribulations that come with it. We're happy you're here and happy to share.
This is us three, the Californians of the group. Whoop whoop. Northern California though. Whoop whoop.
You have to clarify that. So, we asked yesterday any Q&A questions on our story, and we have some lovely people who have asked us questions after we asked them to ask questions. So, we'll start with asked by, do I say who asks it?
We can keep it
anonymous.
Okay. Anonymous.
We can keep it anonymous.
We decided anonymous just now.
Asked it. Who was your favorite male classmate from Montana? Ange, you go first.
So we've decided that we're going to be really specific. Our favorite male classmate from Montana, that's blonde, is Tyson Kearney.
Straight from Malta, Montana.
Our favorite classmate from Montana, male classmate that has dark brown / black hair, is Mr. Colin Moran.
Whoop whoop, Sydney, Montana.
Our favorite male classmate from Montana, that's a ginger, is Mr. Ethan Albrecht. We don't remember where you're from, Ethan. Sorry.
He's from, I don't want to get it wrong.
Laurel, Montana?
Or Billings?
I think Laurel. If it's Laurel, go me.
What is something you wish you would have learned in school but didn't now that you've been out in the field? Grace?
I didn't think of this question. I forgot we had that one.
Okay. Ange?
Maybe go to Ange first.
One thing that I wish that I'd learned more about how to program exercises and home exercise programs, and also
practicing more, maybe more.
Yeah, and now that I've been practicing, I have a really awesome mentor right now who's been helping us break apart better on regressions and progressions of exercises, and not just knowing that increasing weight is a progression, but breaking apart even better, why an exercise is a regression and why it's a progression outside of the usual weight and range of motion limitations, and double limb stability versus single limb stability. So I feel like that something experience will help you with, but definitely I feel like it just kind of glossed over me a little bit more in school. I didn't grasp it as well as I would have hoped.
Yeah. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it also is because your background's a little different too with athletic training.
Yeah. I feel like definitely students in our class that were doing personal training or strength and conditioning, or that's a strength
or
for
exercise
you
science based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a strength of yours, Grace.
I
Or
don't know if
you
it's
feel
a
more
strength
confident in
of
it.
mine. I just like it more, so it's easier to learn because it's more familiar. I don't know.
And Grace does have her CSCS.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I do.
What about you, Bree?
what you did it?
Did you just?
She skipped over me because she's giving me time to think.
Yeah, I know.
But
Okay, my answer is I concur with Ange.
yeah.
That's the easy answer, but okay. Just kidding.
I think one thing I would have liked to have learned more in school, which I don't think you really can learn more in school unless you learn it on your clinical, is how to talk patients through really hard topics if they're either not getting better or you think that they need to do a different type of treatment than just PT, such as surgery, because PT is great, but sometimes you do need surgery if you still want to maintain a certain level of function. So For me, I would say that that's one thing that I wish we had talked through a little bit more, because it's hard to talk about those things to people. But it's also just something that you have to learn and walk through too.
And I would concur with that, but also add that specifically, like, talking to patients about, hey, you're not progressing. Like, sometimes patients just don't progress, or, you know, they need more than PT, or maybe they just need something else. And so, not necessarily cutting them off, but kind of cutting them off maybe a little bit, sometimes having those hard conversations. I feel like patients can get really complacent in themselves as well, in terms of, well, you make me feel better, but that doesn't always mean that they are getting better.
Yeah.
So I think that's, you know, if there was a cheat sheet to that, that'd be kind of...
Yeah. And just, like, adding on to that, too, it's hard because, like, of course we want to be the answer for these people.
I know, we want to fix them.
And just learning that sometimes patients, don't progress.
Okay. How do you continue to find motivation post-grad to have continued growth in your field?
You can start this one, Brie.
I feel like I am a good example, but not a good example, because I probably like to take on a lot of different things in terms of continuing ed. Like, I'm doing the musculoskeletal ultrasound, and I'm doing dry needling, and I'm going to Guatemala. And I think a part of that is to help kind of distract a little bit from maybe those burnt out, complacent feelings. But also, it is a lot, and at times I'm like, why am I doing so much? It's so stressful. So there's definitely a happy medium, and there are times where I regret both. Like, there's times where I regret, I have to do this continuing ed, and I signed up for it, and blah, blah, blah. But I probably would also regret if I didn't take the opportunity, especially if it's a really good one, which most of the time they are really good ones. So, that's probably my thing. Like, you know, in a way, like, the CEUs is a way to keep me distracted, but not distracted, right? It's
like a productive distraction.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
I would agree with that. I think also, if you can place yourself in a position where you surround yourself with good people, we have each other, and I get motivated by seeing my other peers succeed and do well.
Succeed.
Like Brooke with her business, or Bailey doing her mobile outpatient, and she and Nikki being moms, and then Ange doing her travel PT, and you doing your ultrasound residency stuff. So that's all really exciting, because it just makes you think, oh, well, what else could I do? And so that's a good way. And then at my clinic, my boss has been working for 20 plus years, and she still loves PT, which I don't know if you always see after 20 plus years of working as a PT. So she's really motivating to me and my patients as well, because I'm in a place where my patients are really athletic and motivated. Even if they're not high level athletes, they still want to be as good as they can be, and that really makes me want to be as good of a PT as I can be for them too.
Yeah, you stole my answer, but it's okay.
We can overlap.
We can all share. I mean, Bree definitely, my answer's like a combination for sure. Productive distractions, and definitely I was going to say just the people that you surround yourself with. I feel like our classes, good save on the fire there. Our classes, we still keep in touch, even if we don't talk very frequently. There's still awesome people in our class that I can reach out to and learn new things from what they're doing, and just having a great group of people that you can tell them that, hey, I'm stuck right now in PT, just not really enjoying it, and letting them help you stay motivated with what they're doing, I think is a really big thing. we kind of let each other sit in that kind of like bleh phase, but then I feel like we do a good job of pulling ourselves out after, or pulling others out after.
It's good, I think, to embrace the phase. I think it's important in our own growth.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not acknowledging that you are having a hard time, like, you know, I think that's...
No one's perfect, and we're definitely not.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of it.
Yeah. Good questions, friends and family, that we forced you to...
We didn't force.
That we requested you to ask.
We nudged. Now, this is a little bit of a funnier one.
Okay.
Let's break it up
a bit.
What is the easiest thing for a lazy person to do that can have a large health impact?
Grace, you can start. I feel like we all have similar
kind of
answers.
talked about this when it came in yesterday. But one of the easiest things is just to get good sleep.
Sleep hygiene.
Yes.
We may be hypocrites as we answered that, but yes, sleep hygiene. A lot of
Nutrition,
fun
water.
research has come out on all of that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no.
Yes, good research on sleep. It's when our body can rest and heal, but also drink water.
Yes. And we'll probably have another episode on it in the future on sleep hygiene.
But yeah,
We love sleep.
We love sleep. Do we
Lots of
sleep
good-
enough?
No.
Probably not.
I took a nap today.
Good job, Bree.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
If you're only listening, Bree is multitasking. She's fixing the fire while answering questions and moderating, but her poking stick caught on fire. It is fine now. We will continue.
I hope you can hear the crackling.
Cackle like a witch.
The crackling of the fire. It's a nice cozy night here in the Grand Tetons.
Tetons are kind of grand, you know.
The sun's coming down a little,
But
but
you can't see them.
So if you're watching us, we're probably going to get really dark. Sorry. Not sorry.
but it's still really nice out.
Anyways, we digress.
Okay. One piece of advice you would given. Okay, so there's a couple of questions about advice. So let's
We're going to combine them.
yeah. There's basically one about when you're 18 years old. What advice would you give yourself? And then someone asked about our first, second, and third years. What advice? And someone asked about day one of PT school advice. And then another person asked about...
This is a lot of asking about.
I don't know if you really want our advice.
No, advice you'd give yourself.
Oh.
There's a difference, right?
Okay.
Advice you'd give yourself. So let's do like 18 years old. Because that's different from PT
Yeah.
school. So what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? Go.
These are deep questions.
My dad gave me this advice. I'm not sure if it was when I was at 18 or a little bit after, but it was when I was contemplating what sort of career path I wanted to take, and he said you don't have to be scared of which path you take because you can always change it. It might be a little bit harder the further down you are one path to get onto the other path, but it doesn't mean that you can't switch. So that gave me a lot of freedom in choosing a career, especially when it came down to choosing PT.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my advice. That was my dad's advice.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Thanks, Papa Crook. Whoops.
Oh, I was gonna say, advice I'd give my 18-year-old self is that, you don't have to do what everyone's doing. You don't have to go to a California school. That's not everything. I feel like growing up in California, there's all these great universities, right? There's the UC system, and you grow up and you're like, I'm gonna go to UC whatever, and it didn't really work out that way for us, obviously, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, there were multiple different things that played a factor in that, and just because the school is well known doesn't mean it's going to be the right fit for you, and just because it's a little bit more familiar doesn't mean, you know, like you don't have to do all that. And
Yeah.
and school's about, you know, growing and challenging yourself. So I mean, I definitely probably would have been a little bit more initially comfortable in California, but that's not how it ended up, and I'm fine. I'm okay.
Just
You turned
fine.
out good.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
that's pretty similar to my answer too. Just like, don't be scared to do something different.
So let's switch, and then let's go to day 1 of PT school, because that's like all 3 of us went right at. We did straight 4 years undergrad and then straight into PT school, but that's still like, you know,
So, advice to give yourself on the first day of PT
On
school.
the first day.
first day of PT school, or like you're in your first year of PT school. What advice would you give yourself?
It will be okay.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid to fail.
You will no longer have straight A's.
No.
Yeah.
Brooke's not here with us because she's a little busy, but you know, first day of PT school, or as we're getting there, C's get degrees, and I really lived by that. And
Yeah. And also, I would say continue. Oh, fire.
we're good. We're
We're
good.
good.
That looks great.
We purposely have a fire, of course, but I would say continue to challenge yourself, especially socially. We had a lot of friends from athletic training that came to PT school with us, and other friends from other majors in PT school, and definitely you guys are great, but I felt like initially I was shy to meet new people because I already had friends, and so
Yeah.
it was really
People coming
just
from the same
Yeah.
undergrad.
yeah, so it just continued to meet people and grow by learning and meeting other people, which I felt like we did, even through COVID. That sucked, by the way. Yes, we started in COVID.
Maybe we'll give a different episode about that.
That was horrible.
We were separated from Grace and Bailey and Nikki, but we still came together. Okay, so then they do ask about second and third years, but I think third, we could kind of combine, like, what would you give your third year self, or what advice would you give your third year self, and do you think school prepared us for real life?
Advice that I'd give myself for third year would be remembering that the schooling portion is to make us prepared and competent for entry level PT. I definitely feel like I could go into the world after and start practicing, but
Yeah.
of course I'm not going to know everything, and you want to know everything, but just remembering that. And my last clinical instructor was great, and he really like helped me remember that I didn't have to be this perfect PT right out of graduation that was comparable to his years of experience. I just had to be entry level, and so I definitely feel like my program prepared me for entry level PT.
I agree with that.
She concurs.
I concur.
I would tell
Give
myself
yourself
to
grace.
give yourself grace.
Yeah.
And
Not me.
Give yourself grace.
but yeah, that's probably, I mean, you're always gonna want to feel more prepared than you are.
Yeah.
I don't think our school did a horrible job. Could they have done better? Yes, but I think everyone can always do better. So, yeah. Moving on, someone said, "Happy birthday, rank national parks. Heard the Black Hills are pretty cool." That's not really a question.
But thank you, friend.
Thank you.
You know who you are.
We know who you are, and you know who you are, and that means a lot. It's some people's birthday today, but
Not mine.
we're gonna
Rank our national parks. We've been to a lot between the three of us.
I have not been to a lot.
Okay, we've been a lot between the two of us.
Grace really knows the Tetons though.
Very well, yes.
How
about let's just
around
rank-
the Tetons the most?
Let's rank. Everyone
I like
can
the
give their
Tetons.
number one.
Okay, yeah, let's give her number one.
Grand Tetons.
Basic.
No, I'm kidding. I feel like a very dear friend, Nathaniel, asked me this question before, and I said, from the ones that I've been to, Sequoia National Park's underrated.
It is underrated.
Would you say that's your favorite then?
That is a good. That's what I was gonna follow up with.
Some are underrated, but they're still not your top one.
I would say that is top 3.
What's your top one?
I don't know.
Mine is probably Yosemite, but that's just because it holds a nostalgia. We grew up going camping
And
there.
we've been there a lot, yeah.
Yes, but we haven't gone back yet as adults, like full-on adults post PT school. You
That'd
know.
be weird. Like my
And-
mother was there, you know?
Well, actually, I went one time with Courtney.
That was a day trip.
Okay.
Okay, it counts.
Okay, thanks. In high school, but I would say Yosemite. But I think it holds that nostalgia, and
That's
so
true.
I kind of have to put that first.
I would say Yosemite is top 3.
Where you can't decide.
Okay, what's the
Grace
last
is
one in the
number
top
2. Oh yeah,
I know,
sure, you
I
might
don't
as
know.
well.
I'm indecisive, you know that. I don't know what else would be in my
Well, you
top
said
3.
top
So those are my top 2.
Okay, Grace, what is your second? Do you think?
Wait. Oh, okay.
Well, you just said your
I
top
don't know what
two.
my
Well,
second
I
is.
only said my top 2 because I,
I just
couldn't
know
choose
that
one.
I like the Grand Tetons as my first currently,
Okay.
but I also live near here now, and
Yeah.
Well,
it's fun to know little things about it that other people don't know.
okay. Well, that's our ranking.
Yeah. I don't get a second option.
I only have a second because I couldn't do a top 1.
Okay, fine. I would just like to give a shout out to Olympic National Park and my friend Colin Moran that took me there. And Grand Tetons is also top 3
Good
for
lord.
me.
She's going to just list them all. Okay, just kidding. You do you.
The Black Hills are great though. We'll visit you soon. I felt like we needed to
That's
respond
not
to
a national
that.
park, but we do love the Black Hills.
Unless you're talking about Badlands, but that's a little different.
I do
And this
like
person
the
is from
Badlands.
South Dakota, so they probably
Meant the Black Hills.
meant the actual
The
Black
Badlands
Hills.
is cool, but we went when it was too hot.
Way too hot.
Really hot.
Okay. What's something you do, but no, you shouldn't? As a PT,
We kind of talked about
we
this
are
earlier.
our own worst patients. I will die on that hill.
Yeah. I don't do my personal rehab exercises as much as I tell my patients to do them. And I also don't sleep as well as I tell my patients when I educate them on sleep hygiene.
I have some
Whoops.
bad posture at times. Although your best posture is your next posture.
True.
I preach that.
But I could probably have more consistently better posture.
Yeah.
Grace, anything else?
You guys already said sleep and posture and PT.
Like our home exercise programs. Being healthy, not being dumb and reckless.
Yeah. I've lived maybe too many times without healthcare insurance. Whoops.
Uh-oh. I think when we were talking about these yesterday, I said I usually tell my patients to go to their doctor's appointments just for, well
yes.
checkups. And I haven't had one of those for a while. I am young and I think fairly healthy, but still.
Go to your doctor appointments. Yearly checkups are important.
If you have healthcare insurance. If not, we understand. Or Ange understands.
Yeah, okay. There were some D-end ones. One says, I'd really like to hear each of you talk a bit about the upcoming trip and how you guys have felt the call to service learning in your life and how it has shaped your PT career. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Such a
Woohoo.
deep question. I expect none the less from this friend.
So we all kind of shared a little bit in episode 1 and 2 separately about how we're excited about the trip. So let's kind of focus this question a little bit on the call to service learning and how it shaped your career, which we also a little touched on, but I feel like we could touch more on that versus how we feel about the upcoming trip.
Yeah.
I feel like the school we went to really focused on service and leadership and service leadership, and even if you're a leader doesn't mean you can't serve. And I think that they really drilled that in well, and I think that's kind of like I'll be honest, I'm kind of lazy. I don't really want to be the leader at times.
No, I don't that. You like the shadows. Like this video, we're probably in the dark now.
I like to be the helper of the leader, though. Like, I like doing that. So it's a little different to be the leader in this upcoming trip. But I think that shapes how I can be a leader in PT. Even if I don't want to be, it's important to be, right?
Yeah.
What about you guys? Do you concur?
I'm just trying to think of something different than what I said in the last episode.
I know that.
For me, I mean, I just came back from Peru a few weeks ago. It seems a lot longer. It's only been like 2 weeks. But
Crazy.
So I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately on like where this kind of all began. Because in high school, I definitely like felt, always wanted to do like the service mission trips. And I think it really ties into being like first generation Asian Americans, just that first travel concept of like what would life be if I didn't live in the States. And then a lot of our cousins went on just like different trips, and so I think that's what really got me going. And I mean, in our specific family, we see so many models of service, and I think that's kind of, I was trying to think like where it like initially started. The university we went to definitely encouraged that and gave me the opportunities, but I think that's where it really started for me, and learning of the healthcare challenges that our family had coming from a different country and not learning the language, I think also kind of fuels my passion to bridge that gap of healthcare abroad. And maybe that was too deep, I don't know, but I'm kind of rambling now. That's my answer is that.
Sometimes you gotta get deep for a deep question.
Yeah, and I'm still figuring out where it kind of started, but maybe there, I don't know. Anything else to add, though, for you, Grace?
I don't know where I started. When I went to Guatemala in school, I did it because that year I told myself
I remember
I
you
would
mentioning this.
focus on experiences and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And so that's why I went to Guatemala. And being in Guatemala, I touched on in the last episode, was a really good experience. It's also just nice to be able to now, as a PT and doing it as my job, it's really nice to be able to do something that I love, which is PT, for free. And it just makes me also feel more validated that PT is where I should be, because I would do it even if I didn't get paid. Although being paid is a necessity, so
We're working on that,
yes.
on figuring that out.
Moving on. Okay. So this is kind of the last question. Someone asked, well, first they commented on our episode 2, and if you haven't seen it yet, go listen. We thought it was pretty fun. She said, first, it was hilarious to watch you guys, quote unquote, pay attention in class, ... always in your group chat.
Whoops. Oh well. You don't regret it, obviously, if you listen or watch episode 2.
Get through PT school, so I mean.
Although we apologize for distracting you sitting behind us.
But she did do a laughing emoji, and she said it was hilarious, so I think she enjoyed it anyway. And she said, question is, how are we balancing work/life? I want to hear about Bree's pottery and how she's going to teach me next time I'm in Montana, winky face. So I think the question for all of us, of course, is balancing work and life. She wants to hear about my pottery. So we're going to actually talk about everyone's work/life balance and maybe the hobby we're currently enjoying.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go first.
You had a specific shout out, so you can start
Specific
first.
pottery.
Pottery is going very well. It's a great creative outlet. I now have my own wheel at home, and I have a room in our basement that's like my studio. I may or may not have a kiln, although I haven't hooked it up yet. That's a whole nother ball game. But I have one present in my house. So it's been going really well. I'm pretty excited. I think after work, I get really tired, and I try my best to make it down there. And if I don't, I get a little sad. But also, I sometimes have to really push myself to get down there. So it's definitely a balance of, I want pottery to be a creative outlet. I want it to be fun. Even though I'm selling some pottery, I don't want it to be a job. And even if it is a job, I still want it to be fun. So, because
She wants it all.
Your job should be fun. I enjoy PT, but yeah. Anyway, carry on. I'm carrying on. Sorry. So it's going really well. I am signed up to do a market here in Billings, Montana. So if you're in the area, come out on someday in June. I'll let you know because I don't remember the top of my head, but it's called Plant-A-Palooza. And there's like a Saturday, Sunday market, but I'll be there on Sunday because I'll actually be flying in from Salt Lake City. That's Saturday before. So don't go on Saturday, go on Sunday to see me. Or you can go both days. But I'll be selling some of my pieces there. I did it last year. And I have a couple of amazing opportunities lined up that I could potentially have some of my pottery inside some stores or some areas of business, which I think is really good because it's a little bit more passive. I don't have to sit at a market on the weekend. I don't have to stare people down and smile at them and say in my eyes, please buy something.
Or please stop by.
Or please stop by. Or I don't have to like silently cry in my heart when they pick something up and look through everything and then they walk away and don't buy it. But I mean, like I said, I probably shouldn't take too much on, but
It's also good to stay busy.
yeah.
In a sense like that, though.
And I think
Yeah.
even if I think about things and I don't go through with it, I think it's still good, healthy, and ways for me to continue thinking about what makes me happy. And I don't think there's ever going to be a really good balance, but I think the important thing is trying.
Yeah.
I rambled too much. Grace, how is your work-life balance, and what is your current passion project / hobby? Or something you're just, yeah.
Work-life balance changes from week to week. So,
Also, Bree's killing this fire right now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it actually looks
Sorry to
really
cut you
good.
off, Grace, but
No,
maybe you'll see
no,
our
you're
faces
good.
again in the video. Continue.
work-life balance changes from week to week. I work 410, so I have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays off, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Well, no.
Wait, what?
I wish I had
said Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
I said that one wrong. I have Wednesdays off and I have the weekend off. So I do 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off, which I know some people would think that that's not a good split. But for me, I feel like it's worked out really well where I don't feel burnt out. And I've done 410s before where I either have the Monday off or the Friday off, and I get burnt out with that.
I think we need to have an episode to just discuss that, because I think all of us have a little bit different
Yeah.
schedules, and that might be something fun to talk about. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. But I like having my Wednesdays off. When I first started at this job, I had Thursdays off, and then I had Tuesdays off, and then Wednesdays off, and then I had Mondays off, and then I had Tuesdays off, and then I got to choose, and I chose Wednesdays off because we can't have Fridays off. But that's okay. Wednesdays works great. I have been snowboarding. So I started last year.
She's
I
a
did my
killer
second-
on the mountain.
I am not a
Shredding
killer.
snow.
She's a shredding
I
snow.
can stay on my board,
Hey,
which is good.
That's
Very
good
good.
core stability, rigidity, control,
Thanks, guys.
coordination.
I am not great. I can ride down the hill.
That's all you have to do technically with
Better than
snowboarding.
getting stuck at the top.
That's true. So I've started that, which I've been liking in the winter, and then I just started indoor rock climbing about a month ago. And by started, I mean I've gone once a week.
Hey,
That's more than me.
That's a
Can't
start.
do that where I'm at.
So I've been enjoying that, and then I just bought a lot of backpacking gear and hope to do that this summer.
Shout out to REI's Memorial Anniversary
shout
sale.
out to Expert Voices. We don't gatekeep here.
Look it up. So that's what I've been up to. So right now, because it's not snowy, indoor rock climbing. And then when the weather gets a little warmer, backpacking hopefully.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn. I'll be honest, the balanced life is not super great for me right now. I am used to kind of taking like a whole week off after my trips, and this time I just kind of went back into it, and so truthfully I'm just kind of I feel like I'm still transitioning back, which I think is okay. And I mean, I'm still working, but I definitely feel a lot more drained. And so the easiest hobby for me that I feel passionate about is definitely photography and videography, because I can take that with me on my trips, and editing them takes a lot of time, like a lot of time.
They look so good.
Ange has a
I try.
portfolio of her travel trips and her. Yeah, we'll share her portfolio.
You
link.
really don't have to.
They're gorgeous.
But I feel like that helps me take the time to reflect and process, because I'm going through all this media and truthfully deleting about 3/4 of the content, because you take so much and most of them are just kind of bleh. But I think that's helped me with some balance, because it's kind of easy to, it's not easy at all to edit things, but something that I can open up and look at a few things and tweak some things and then close it and come back to it. And I usually, in the past, I've had a lot of trouble with projects, especially creative ones, that I felt like I needed to do them all in one sitting. Like I couldn't do a painting if I felt like I couldn't start it and finish it in one session, but I don't feel that way with my editing, and so I think that's really helped me continue to create and not feel as stressed and pressured with it. And especially with the job that I have right now, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of clinic media, and so that's been a fun, creative, productive distraction that still work, but it's a little bit different, and it's something I do enjoy. So, but I'll be honest, the work-life balance is not great right now, and maybe it's important to share that sometimes you suck at it.
Well, I think it also depends on seasons of your life.
Yeah.
Some seasons are just going to be better at balancing versus others. And maybe balance is you're really busy at one point and then you're not as busy another point.
Yeah.
But overall, it's somewhat balanced.
I think important thing to note is that us three are here together, camping.
Yeah.
And
Took time to make a trip. It made it out of the group chat.
yeah,
We'll have more some other time with us.
hopefully, yeah. And so, not everything is always balanced, and there are times where it comes together, and other times it doesn't. But making an effort, I think, really important. Really important. Even if you're not successful, as long as you're trying, you'll find it.
Yeah. But
Or you won't, but it's okay. Like, as long as you try.
yeah. So, shout out to all of our friends and family. Thanks for putting in some questions for us so that we didn't have to think really hard about what we wanted to talk about for today's episode in the Grand Tetons. And hopefully we have some more campfire style episodes in the future.
So yeah, this is us three from the Tetons checking out.
You probably can't see us anymore, and we don't have any more firewood because we're going to save it for tomorrow. So, talk to you next time.
All right. Goodbye.
Stay tuned. Might be a week, might be a month. Hopefully soon.